Our first guest is getting ready. We're going to be talking about the Southwest MMA scene. It's bustling, it's growing, it's got a bunch of new players, promotions, Nowhere to Run wants to get involved. We have Empire, we have CFC, we just had Battle at the Basin. Whenever Jimmy Dukes gives me a thumbs up, we're going to bring him on here in a moment, and maybe we'll even ask him about Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey, because again, it just kind of blew me away today that we got that news. Let's bring Jimmy Dukes on in. Our first guest is ready.
Hey, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, welcome back to my fight show. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on, man. Anytime Micah hits me up, I'm like, hey, man, let's talk some fights. Let's go.
Right. I intended to bring you on. Let's just start talking about, wow, you're busy. You're here, there, you're there. Las Cruces, Alamogordo, the entire Southwest is busy. But then Bleacher Report wakes me up this morning that they have a press release from MVP Promotions and Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. I need your first thought.
Bro, when I saw that, I was like, I was trying to read in between the lines. This is for the MMA fans, right? And I'm like, okay, is this a boxing fight, but they're trying to promote it as like these two women fighting, right? Finally. And then I double checked. I was like, oh, damn, it is an MMA fight. Yeah. So I used to follow Gina back before, back in the days in the, was it Strike Force? You know what I mean? So that matchup never happened. You know what I mean? Because with Gina, she split from, combat sports and started acting, and then Ronda had her rise and came down. So the fact that this loops back around, like, I'm like, all right, set it up. Why not? What do you think about it?
Way too late. I've heard already speculation that there were talks this fight could happen 12 years ago. That sounds amazing. Right now at 39 and 43 years old, and collectively haven't either one really thought about fighting and in so many years, it feels like a cash grab. And depending on what they put around it, it should be entertaining. Yeah. But the fan in me, the journalist in me is like, okay, I'm ready for any spectacle. The fan in me is like, I don't know if I buy this.
Yeah, I feel you. I have some friends that we always kind of shoot the breeze. I have some close friends that I'm like, we jokingly always said, set up the tents. You know what I mean? Set up the tents. I'm showing up. Part of the fight game, unfortunately, nowadays, it's entertainment. You know what I mean? And people want to see certain fights that shoulda, coulda, woulda, but they're happening now. People are going to watch. So, set it up.
Set it up. What they've been doing here locally recently is setting up a lot of fights. You were there in Alamogordo. What was your thoughts on what I'm guessing might have been your first trip to Alamogordo?
Yeah, man. So I've been fortunate to know a lot of guys from that area that I've been covering and promotions and, that I've been to. So the fact that they had something set up, it had been over 10 years. I know you talked to Anthony and I sat and watched that too. It was cool for you guys to catch up like that. But yeah, man, they had a great event. They had 13 fights, 2 pros out of those 13, some great finishes, some great talent. So it was just for me as a fight fan first, like for a lot of people that know me or don't know me, I'm a fight fan first, and then I cover the sport. So seeing that there's more people getting opportunities, more fights, I'm happy for.
Always happy to see that and see some of the, like we said, underserved areas get to give that audience the entertainment that we're getting, because it's quite a trek sometimes to get up to one of the bigger cities, and not to mention it's hard for a Desert Dynasty to always have to play the road team. It's nice to get them some home games.
Yeah, there's a lot of rural little cities and towns in New Mexico that I'm not the best with geography, but a lot of them are all driving distance, and there's smaller schools and smaller, academies that have some guys that could fight. They might not be known, but the fact that there's another promotion that's kind of catering to more this area over here in between, it's awesome.
I think I've been to small events in Socorro, Belen, Clovis, Hobbs, and not saying you're all small, just the smaller cities, guys.
Yeah,
exactly. All the way down to Cruces and going to the convention center rather than the Pan Am for the American Fight League. So it's good though to see that how many promotions are popping up. And I was trying to keep count of it because I'm thinking we have the one we just mentioned, which I wanted to get a little more deep into that event here in a moment. But then you even have a CFC, you have Empire, you have Kingdom, we have Fight World, we have APFC out here, and even talks that Nowhere to Run is going to try to expand from kickboxing into the MMA world. Am I missing any you could think of?
Man, that was it. You nailed. Other than, I mean, as far as like MMA stuff, then yeah, that I'm aware of, yes, absolutely, man. That they've all been popping up lately, and they're all doing well in their own ways, and I love to see that.
Right, it's the health. It shows that there's a healthy entity and community here in combat sports, that we're able to have so many promotions, so many little towns, and it's spreading out the love, and that everyone is able to stay active. That's all great to see. Now you're there, Alamogordo. What was that atmosphere like? Because for them, it was the first time in a while.
Yeah, man, it was 10 years from my understanding. And, I was able to go out there to cover it. They had me and my homeboy Jake go up there. We covered the event content wise. And the fact that it was in such a cool little area up there, they was at part of the facility, I guess is part of a college, the auditorium it was perfect. I mean, it was full for 10 years. I went outside, I was recording, like the line around the corner, everybody was doing what they were supposed to do. All the fighters showed up on time. Everybody like that was working the door. Everything ran smooth. So for them to have that as a first experience, I'm glad that happened and everything went well. And I hope it springboards to more.
And I believe split decision, main event, Richard Jennings versus Ricky Maynez. That one I heard was a barn burner.
Man, back and forth, man. And I've got to know these guys personally over the past, year and a half that I've been, covering the sport. I've known Ricky for so long, man. That guy is a walking inspiration. Jennings is a calm, collective killer too. So I saw them. They had both losses before this one. So when they fought, I'm all about the story. I tell people like, hey, man, these guys are coming off quick losses. They want to get back in there and win. And these guys been on a parallel, track in their career. They've known each other, but they've never fought. They've known each other, but never had to. But now they cross paths. And it was back and forth. It was split. You know what I mean? It was split. And like I said, I'm not a judge, but it was close.
They really do have similar paths that the pro careers have kind of worked out in that similar fashion. And both of them came into the pros after amateur careers that had them with ridiculously high expectations.
Yeah, man. So for them to fight and then also to showcase the skill level of pros that we have in New Mexico in the Southwest, there's, the fact that we're starting to see a little bit more pro fights at these heavy amateur fights. It's awesome.
Also, I had him on last week. Angel Gallegos hits a calf slicer. I've seen the video now. I'm like, gosh, I've seen tutorials that look like that one.
Yeah, man. Like everybody thought he was like me. I've seen him fight. A lot of people seen him fight. We all kind of knew what we wanted to see and expect. He was going to go out there and hit this guy, and we were going to see what was going to happen. But it turned in kind of a grappling match, and then he got tangled up, and there he is, the guy that's knocked 3 guys out in a row gets a submission. You know what I mean? So holy smokes.
When I had Anthony on here last week, first thing he had to get to was, I think it was the first 5 fights go nuts, and they're all knockouts.
Dude, and here's the other thing too, that I've embedded more and more into the amateur area, and I'm trying to do my best to get to know a lot of people. There's a lot of guys that are like 0-0 or 0-1 that are like really high skilled fighters that are just starting to come out. So the fact that I got to see a lot of guys making their debuts or their second match, man, it's awesome because the level of skill is so high with these amateur guys. A lot of these guys are all fighting each other as their first 1 or 2 fights, and they're high caliber fighters out of Albuquerque, out of El Paso. And then for me to watch it as a fan and then be cage side taking pictures, it was awesome to see all those fights rattle off in a row that they were finishes.
As you're there taking the photos, doing the video, I know your mind's racing. You're doing 18 things at one time. Are you able to take in enough to say, this guy impressed me, and I'm excited to see him again?
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, like I always tell a lot of guys, like I'm looking and taking pictures or videoing, so I'm kind of watching the fight, but I get the benefit to watch the fight after because I get the video. I mean, one of the first guys that right off my brain is Dante Morales. Man, that kid is good, man. He's good, young. He's 1-1 now out of Wild West and Cruces. Diego Rivera out of Warriors Lair. He won at KFL, got a TKO in the first round, went to Alamogordo on after 2 weeks of that fight and got a second win, another TKO. So it was exciting to see him fight. The Ramos kid with the body kicks out of Warriors Lair I'm excited to see again. So a lot of fresh talent of guys in this area that I'm excited to continue to see. And another guy off the top of I think it was fight of the night was Isaiah Solaita and Elijah Quinn. They were beating the crap out of each other for 3 rounds. And those two guys are kind of like veteran amateur guys. And that was another one that popped up. But yeah, great card.
I think we need to encourage Soleita to kind of hold a couple of those back until he turns pro. He's putting out those fight of the nights in a fashion where he could pump the gas and be a little more economical to amateurs right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another take that I always like talking to coaches and promoters and like other people. I've heard different things of like, hey, as long as he's not physically getting hurt, keep going. And then other times it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of pull back, but he's healthy. Every time I've talked to him, he's lost, but not like gotten his ass beat, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? He's lost fights and it's not like he's ever been injured, but yeah, for 19 years old and having like 12 fights, that's kind of wild.
19 years old, 12 fights, and I've seen at least 3 or 4 of them, and I think they've all been close to fight of the night. So I'm like, hi, dude. You know, that's a bit too exciting.
Anywhere. That's his new nickname. They've been calling him. I've been saying it for over a year, like jokingly, and they've been saying it, but now it's Mr. Anytime Anywhere. Hey, because that kid will fight, you know, and that's all that matters. That's what we want to see as fans, as promoters, as coaches. That we want to see guys that want to go out there, right?
You definitely have to have that courage. Like I said, I'm thinking longevity. And
yeah,
fights is a lot,
bro. I totally agree with what you're saying, man. But as long as they're healthy, you guys stay healthy out there. Don't tear yourself up, please. I mean, we love covering you guys and talking about the fights, but please take care of yourself.
So what's next on the calendar? I believe it's March 14th. It's the Pan Am Center. It's Empire Promotions, Reign of Champions. I already had Angel on here, so he was mentioning a title fight, and him and Alexis Ortiz, that is stupid good for amateurs.
Damn, man, that card is going to be amazing. I'm going to be out there commentating for Empire. It's going to be another great event. That is another promotion, how you were saying, that it's gradually getting traction, and they're doing a good job of like securing the like Las Cruces area. So they're able to pull from, you know, Juarez, El Paso, Cruces, Alamogordo, and all the way around Albuquerque. And every show that they've put on has gotten better every single time, just like all the other promotions. But this one's like, as of right now, we got at least 20 fights right now locked in for the 14th. That's going to be wild. There's 20 fights on the board right now that I know of. And once we get down and chop it down and trim, I'm sure we'll have at least 16 or 18 fights for that day. And I'm excited to be out there as well.
Okay, you look at that card. I think I've already seen 2 amateur title fights, but what is standing out to you, or as a broadcaster, like how far out are you going to start digging into it and really getting your facts together?
I know Angel and Alexis. You've seen Alexis fight, right?
Yes. I was there at his APFC fight.
So check that out. Now that we got Angel rolling on the floor, you know what I mean? Because like, hey, man, everybody knows Alexis he's a great submission guy. You know, everybody knows it's not, but he's been working on his hands and his kicks. I've been around him. Like he's throwing head kicks and stuff like that. But the fact that we saw Angel defend takedowns and finish on the floor, that fight's going to be way more interesting now. Way more interesting.
Alexis, also, you add in, that was some thudding ground and pound in his last victory when I got to see him at APFC. The first 2 were the rear naked chokes. And now, like you said, you would think the striking advantage goes in Angel's direction. And we wonder, how far is the gap in the grappling game from the esteem of what Ortiz has been able to accomplish already to Well, Gallegos has a couple tricks up his sleeve, obviously.
Yeah, man, and those heavy hands, bro. That changes the tide of any fight that I personally see. Like, I've seen guys that are skillful going in there, piecing somebody up, and they get tagged hard one good time. They're kind of like, oh, dang, you know what I mean? And Angel definitely has the skill and that power.
April 6th, back in El Paso, you get CFC 6, and I saw them announce their main event. Travis Ariallo has been on the radar, LFA, Fight World. I've been wondering where he had been, and he gets their opportunity to become the inaugural welterweight champion, taking on Ricardo Chavez, who I've heard is tough as nails.
Dude, Woody has over 50 fights, like 50 fights, ranked like in the top 5 in Mexico for his weight class. He fought at CFC last. He fought at an overweight because it was a kind of a short notice. But the guy he fought, AJ Hodgkins, is an animal and had a tough time fighting him. But Woody on a full camp, I'm excited to see him go out there because he's been around. You like when I was seeing him fight, like he was defending takedowns, he was throwing punches. I mean, it was crazy to see a veteran like that fight. So on a full camp against this kid that you're saying, I'm excited for that as well.
So he took on AJ up at 85, and AJ is a freak athlete, guys.
Oh my God, bro.
Getting to interview him back in his amateur days once. And it seems like at that point, when he was trying to figure out how to put it all together, his actions have now caught up to the way he thought he was fighting in the gym back then.
Yeah, man, that goes back to the whole Southwest. You know, there's a lot of great guys that I'm just starting to know about, you know, so it's cool to see these guys, how you said, hey, you talked to him a while ago, and now he's a pro 3-0 or 2-0 or 3-0, if I'm not mistaken. So the fact that there's a lot of guys that are starting to get their shine in this area, it's amazing.
Is there any other fights so far between the Reign of Champions or the CFC 6 card that you're excited for that I didn't touch on yet?
Fight World and APFC.
I meant those other two events. We're going to get there.
Oh, yeah. Other than though, yeah, I mean, in my area, yeah, for sure. CFC, April 25th. Reign of Champions, the 14th. It's on my radar, obviously. But yeah, man, it's in the Kingdom had a card recently. It was great, and Dynasty. So yeah, man.
Anything to talk about from the Kingdom card that really stood out?
That was another one, man. I think it was 13 bouts and 13 finishes. So shout out to Kingdom Fight League, man. They had some great guys out there fighting as well too. They had 2 jiu-jitsu matches, and man, Kingdom is doing well for themselves too, and giving guys opportunity to fight that are guys are 0-0 or guys that, you know, not affiliated with heavy gyms. So they're doing well. Is great as well. And for me to be their cage side, dude, it was finishes all night, legit fights, legit finishes. But yeah, man, I mean, all those events in this area have been great. But Fight World and APFC too, right? Coming up.
Fight World, our friends from Fight World. Now, we know Fight World, a unique promotion. Remember, they do Fight World in 2 different areas. We have Fight World in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there's Fight World in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. March 21st, it's Fight World everywhere. You have Fight World 44 in the PA area, where you have a couple big show vets like Sean Santella versus Chris Johnson. And we're going to have Fight World 43 here, Albuquerque at Revel. Velozo Chavez, the first pro fight. Joseph Velozo, San Antonio, Texas, a Texan that we've seen here in his amateur run, taking on Ozzy Chavez, longtime member of Fit NHB. And on the amateur side, Next Gen's Devin Gomez is facing Borg's Ezekiel Romero. And we know how energetic Ezekiel is.
Man, and he works hard too. Like, and that's the cool thing about Fight World. And now that I've been fortunate to shout out to them out there for having John Judy, man, always letting me in the door and stuff. But I'm able to see guys that I normally don't ever get to see. So I'm always excited to go and cover that, because I'm making it a point to, like, I want to know everybody that's doing awesome things in the combat sports world. There's a lot of fighters out there that that we don't know about. And I want to let everybody know that hey, there's some killers out there. So that Fight World card, they always have a great event, right?
Always a great event. Ozzy versus Joseph. Both guys are ridiculously aggressive. So you know that one is not making it to the final bell. And on the Ezekiel side, he's kind of promised that he doesn't want to see the judges' scorecards anymore after the split decision in his amateur title fight.
Yeah, and that's tough too. I mean, and that's part of the game, right? It doesn't always go your way, but we always like to see guys like, hey, how do you respond? I mean, it's cliche to say, but we see guys respond after a loss really well. So, you know, we'll see what happens in that matchup, right?
Right. And looking forward to John Judy. I'm sure we're going to have more fight announcements here shortly from Fight World as we're kind of getting in. We're closing in. We're past Valentine's Day, so it feels like the calendar is closing in on us, and we'll be looking at live and local fights before we know it. Mentioning that March 14th event, you'll be in Las Cruces. I'll be at Overtime Bar and Grill because Nowhere to Run will be having their next amateur kickboxing event here in the Albuquerque area. That following weekend is our doubleheader. We're on the Friday, or excuse me, on the Saturday. On the 21st, you get Fight World, and then the 22nd, mentioned it, we have the APFC event, where the main event, at least that's how it's listed right now. Well, wait, they have it listed backwards actually on the website. Main event, Jalen Fuller, Christian Turner. So we get the defense of the welterweight title, where our striking friend here, Jalen, has turned in 2 submission of the year performances under APFC. And the co-main event is the rebooking of James Pleasant Emmanuel Sanchez, originally scheduled for APFC 21 until the medical emergency. Sideline Emmanuel, Jess Martinez jumps in nobly. We're going to run that one back. You have any thoughts on where we're going with those 2 title fights?
For sure that I could speak of Pleasant. You know, he's out of El Paso. So, you know, he's a great pro, great guy. And the fact that he got an opportunity to showcase his skill on a bigger stage like that as a title fight, you know, he also could have said, you know, he took the fight too. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people don't understand that guys, when, you know, somebody gets cut from the fight, something happens, you know what I mean? The guy can say no still. So the fact that he still said yes to fight somebody who has nothing to lose, you know, it's awesome. And for him to get that opportunity against the guy he was supposed to fight, I'm sure that the promotion wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, hey, we're going to redo that fight, right? And it's going to happen next month.
A 35 fight vet who used to compete in Bellator. It doesn't even have to be stated really to think just with those numbers how big of an opportunity this is for James Pleasant. This is that fight that gets the notoriety. Defeating Jess, who was coming off of a layoff, who did have a nice, shiny, unbeaten record. It helps, but you get this name, and that puts your name to that next level of prospects.
Absolutely, man. And they're putting on a lot of guys, the whole APFC amateur side that we know of. There's a lot of guys that are coming back from the last event, some guys that are getting a new opportunity. And when I see the amateur card, because that's what I know more, I'm getting excited because I see a lot of guys. I'm like, oh, damn, look at, oh, shit, they're going to fight. So the whole amateur side is amazing to see, that the fact that they're bringing so many guys back.
Gabe Bencomo coming off of the big overhand right, taking on Roberto Valenzuela. That's going to be 2 powerful middleweights. And then the same thing when you say Jacob Sinasek versus Brendan Johnson. Oh, wait, it's 3 things. It's also there with Clint Whitmore versus Kashawn Randall.
Oh, man, that Whitmore guy's amazing, dog. He fought at KFL. Jesus Christ. Seeing that guy in person, bro, that guy is different. That guy is different, dude.
All 3 middleweight fights. It's almost like we have a unofficial kind of middleweight seating going on to see if we can get an amateur APFC title fight going down here, as they have announced we're going to be one of their hubs.
That's awesome. Yeah, because they're jumping back and forth from Milwaukee. Is that what they're doing? APFC?
Milwaukee. They also plan to go to the Washington, DCW kind of Baltimore area, and then also coming back here to the Southwest. There's a lot of possibilities for where they're going to go. But it seems like when they come back to the Southwest, it's been a little more feasible here than going to Arizona. And we know Fury kind of already has Texas.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's kind of like it's cool seeing it just from afar. From what I see, it's kind of like, hey, where could we find a hub that we can kind of have as a place that we always go to? And we all know that Albuquerque is a fight city. Like that, I've been around and I've been around more. I know it's been a fight city. I've been following UFC forever. And El Paso, we've had a lot of fighting too. And now that I've been around more, I'm like, okay, like this area does need like a bigger promotion like that makes sense with names and stuff like that are carrying more heavy pro side for people to like, hey man, that's an opportunity. You fight at one of these around here, you might get a shot at APFC, because I mean, if you're on APFC, you're on Fight Pass, right?
You get to that Fight Pass level, you're talking about the Furies, the APFC, the CFFC, and that's that catapult usually to the next level. LFA now on Vice, that's still one of the premier feeders. But when you get there, yeah, it's hitting another level, and it's just another step kind of up the podium, so to speak.
Absolutely, man. And it's cool seeing them to come back out here, and everybody's excited to have them. And you know, they've been putting on great cards, and then they have all the cool UFC guys come out, and you know, for the crowd, it seems like a great event, and then hopefully we keep having it more and more.
The meet and greets are an undersold genius move of what APFC has done, not just utilizing Anthony and Sergio and their guys, but as we've seen, bringing out a DJ, a Dustin Poirier, a Justin Gaethje. That extra fan interaction, I think, is a good little pull to just bring in the average fan, because you kind of need that niche. Last time Gable Stevenson was also that niche, but just it's an interesting additive to the marketing that I hadn't really seen anyone else doing.
Yeah, it's like I tell a lot of the fighters too that it's a show, guys. It's entertaining. At some point, like your fighting could only take you so far, but having people interested in wanting to see you, and the fact that APFC, like I don't know anybody personally, but from what I see, like they're making it a point to do all that extra stuff that they can, because you gotta build that following, right, Micah? You gotta have people excited. It doesn't matter who's on the card. We know APFC's coming. We're gonna go, and that's what there seems like they're trying to build.
Right, you're starting to get that notoriety, and they're building. You've had Jalen getting his title, back-to-back fights. You've had James now, back-to-back opportunities on the card. Gabe Bencomo, like you said, I think Mike Mexell, Mark McDill. They're starting to get names that are familiar and keeping active, and I think that also helps to the fan base to connect to an athlete, seeing them and watching them grow. I think that was a big part of also what I saw here. I don't know if you ever got the chance. The Jackson's MMA series that turned into the Southwest MMA series was a large feeder at one point to building guys to get ready for that next level that we're talking about.
Yeah, and it seems like, you know, you've been around Lager, and just from what I've seen, like the boom that I've seen in the past 2 years, and the quality of fighters, the quality of coaches, the quality of gyms and academies, it's really high. You know, I mean, there's really good guys everywhere, and the fact that there's so many guys willing to try to get in this whole combat sports world and are striving for that, I think we're the benefactors. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be covering the sport. I say that all the time to the guys, like, hey, if it wasn't for you, man, I mean, I'd be creating other type of content, but I love covering combat sports.
Do you get the feeling? Do you feel that there's been almost a turn in the Las Cruces, the El Paso area, with these now 3-4 promotions that have come up that are servicing down there, that combat sports almost feels reignited? Because the gyms have been there for a while, but I feel like having the promotions and getting the fights to be there locally helps build that environment.
Yeah, I do believe so. And like from getting to know the coaches and the promoters and the guys have been around for 10 plus years, man, they always credit, you know, John Judy, like, hey man, he's been doing it for so long. I said I wanted to do this, and you know, he gave me pointers and stuff. And these guys have like that lineage of being able to be around guys that are successful in different ways in the sport. So now all these guys that have their successful businesses and whatever are like, hey, let's go ahead and push this. And from what I know and from what I see from everybody's doing it for the right reasons, right? Not everybody's going to make $1 million, but everybody's wanting to run these promotions for all the right reasons, and the fighters and businesses and brands are starting to benefit because of that boom.
The point we're trying to get across, everybody, is that we're both happily excited for the future and the landscape that we have locally.
Absolutely, bro.
Like there's so many good fights that can be made. There's so many promotions that are working together, that are bringing in the audiences, and the healthier the ecosystem is, the healthier the community is, the more these fighters get to stay active, grow their skills. And maybe we'll get back to a day where it was the heyday of seeing the Jacksons, the Fit fighters, the Southwest fighters in these bigger platforms and in these title fights.
Yeah, and us for us too, man. I'm glad that we get to work together too. You know what I mean? Like we love covering the sport and talking about what everybody's got going on. So it's good for us too, right? I mean, I if I could do this all the time, I will, man. So the fact that we have so many events and we individually get to know a lot of the guys and talk to them and interview them and, you know, showcase what they got going on. It's a win-win for everybody.
Jimmy Dukes, were you able, you said you had a lot of content, a lot of video, a lot of photos. Were you able to get through a lot of it? Do you have your media put together here from the last couple events?
I do, man. I'm chopping away, man. You know, shout out to Kingdom that, you know, when I was out there, I did all their finishes. Kingdom Fight League on their Instagram, all their, you know, all the work is up there in the photos, all the guys that bought photos. And then obviously Alamogordo too, man. They had a great show, man. I've been rolling out all the interviews and talking about each fight, you know, because another thing that I'm trying to do is every event that I go to, I want to do a recap, you know, so I can get people more involved about with the fighters and, you know, guys wanting to talk to us. I always say, hey, man, talk to Cage Minds. Like Mike is awesome. You know, I mean, I feel like us collaborating within reason is awesome. It just grows the sport for everybody.
Trying to grow the sport, trying to support everybody. Kind of started with the crazy motto, every fight, every fighter. And then I never realized things like power slap, bare knuckle would come around and how many damn events I'd actually be trying to cover in one day.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too. Like for me, like I'm just going to stay in the Southwest for me personally, because like I really want to cover this area and I don't want to stretch myself too thin where like I don't even know guys in my own backyard. You know what I mean? I feel like there's enough for me to promote in this area and, you know, showcase all the skills of the promotions and the fighters, man. So yeah, because there's so much different content we could cover, right?
Any fighter, any grappler, any wrestler, anybody want to jump in on the show? The comments are open. We'll link up if you want to.
Yeah, dude, we're here. Like I say this too, and I could see that from you real quick to give you your flowers. We're here for you guys. You know what I mean? We really are. Like, if you want to make this work and make it worthwhile, we want to talk to you guys. You know, we don't want to pull teeth, but at the same time, like, we don't want to talk to the guy that doesn't want to do it either. You know, we want to talk to the guys that want to talk about what they got going on, their fights, their journey, or anything positive that's related to the combat sports world.
Do the positivity, the journeys. You never know what you're going to stumble upon in a conversation with a fighter, what led them here, why they're here, how they're motivated. It can be inspiring to horrifying to just, it's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree. These girls and guys tick differently for sure. And I'm just happy to be along in the back to hang out with the camera and talk about the stories and stuff.
It was a pleasure once again to have you on my fight show, sir.
Yeah, real quick, man. I know you get the fades from him, but real quick, shout out to Ben Como, Gabe. Angel sent this down at Alamogordo. It's the beard bomb. This shit is amazing, Gabe. Thank you, bro. Cherry smelling, it smells amazing. But yeah, great product. I just wanted to shout out Gabe real quick. He sent that down with Angel to Alamogordo for me. So shout out, Gabe. Thank you, brother.
Barbers R Us beard bomb, cherry scented. You get it at barbergabesfades.net.
Look at it. It popped up right there. Look at the little hey.
It's the bomb that put my beard in the submission hold
exactly.
tonight.
That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, man, it keeps it shaped. Okay. I don't have like a crazy beard, but it just keeps it good. But thank you for having me on. But thank you for having me on, man. You take care, brother.
You have a good one.